This is my spot. Always look interesting. Hard to do.
According to CNN, doping involves an athlete taking drugs or products to artificially boost their performance during training or competition. And while prominent athletes from Barry Bonds to Lance Armstrong today have been found to use illegal drugs, the actual issue of morality of drugs has not been widely discussed or covered by the media. Doctors Russell Meldrum and Judy Feinberg estimate the incidence of anabolic steroid use among college athletes is about 1%, with another 12% considered at risk in that they would use such drugs under the right circumstances. And these numbers are continuing to increase all the time. So during the speech today, I'm going to attempt to persuade you why illegal doping is bad and morally wrong. First, I'm going to define some illegal drugs that are currently being used in sports. Second, I'm going to explain who is using illegal drugs to gain a competitive advantage in the sports arena and why they use them. And then finally, using Lance Armstrong and there are a couple of famous athletes today, so the downfall that can result in using illegal banned substances. And by participating in such a high level of competition over the years, I've encountered extreme amount of drug use with people that I've known and heard about too. So according to the World Anti-Doping Agency, it's basically the leading recognized source on every doping and illegal substance in the world. And they cover everything from the Olympics to professional football. And they claim there are 5 groups of substances that are banned at all times in competition, and 3 methods of illegal drug use. So the most prevalent substances used are anabolic agents, peptide hormones, beta-2 antagonist hormone and metabolic modulators, and diuretics. And so just a brief overview of each of these. Anabolic agents are what you see as steroids, and they lead to unnatural muscular growth and regeneration. Peptide hormones are those substances that promote growth, such as the commonly known human growth hormone. And beta-2 antagonists are those used to treat asthma and increase the flow of oxygen in the lungs and the bloodstream. Hormone and metabolic modulators increase the amount of testosterone or estrogen in the body. And then finally, diuretics, they clean your body through urine, the use of urine. And then the 3 methods that are covered, there's the manipulation of blood and blood components. There's a chemical manipulation, which just refers to the tampering of samples after the athlete gives the agent a sample. And then gene doping is just a modification of genetic cells. So as you can see, just doping encompasses a very broad sense of illegal drug use. So now, basically, we're just going to talk about who uses illegal drugs in sports and why. And it comes down to it can be covered from anyone from amateurs to professional athletes. You see it more covered in the media by professional athletes just because of the large amount of money that's involved in sports. And according to Australia's governing body, people dope for numerous reasons, and I'll just name a couple. There's 3 broad categories. First, for the drug, basically for the effects of the drug, ease of availability, legal status, and physical dependence. Second category would be the person, just dissatisfaction with their performance and progress, psychological dependence, a desire to cope with anxiety or stress. And then the last broad category is environment, which friends or your other athletes are using the drugs, the culture of the sport, the pressure to win, financial reward, and such. And like I said, it's important to note that everyone, all ages, race, genders, have been seen to use illegal drugs to try and gain a competitive advantage. And the use, as everyone knows, the use of illegal drugs is just that. It's illegal, and it causes a huge amount of health and psychological issues as well. So the last thing we're going to talk about is professional athletes and doping. And it's been around since the beginning of sports, and people trying to win at all costs. Most famous ones recently have been I'm sure all of y'all heard about Mark McGuire, baseball, Sammy Sosa, Alex Rodriguez, Marion Jones, the track star, and most recently Lance Armstrong. Now, Lance Armstrong was such a huge and inspirational figure because he came back from testicular cancer just a year after being diagnosed with it, and then went on to win the Tour de France 7 times from 1999 to 2005. During that time, he denied any use of drugs, and then he actually just came out recently in 2013 with an interview with Oprah, and he admitted to everything. One time he was worth over $125 million, and now he's pretty much lost everything. And in addition, he was stripped of all his accomplishments, which most athletes are if they are found to use illegal drugs. So what if, just like a rhetorical question, what if the person you looked up to cheated on one thing you thought he or she stood for, and that was all a lie? And imagine countless kids across the world thinking that you can only be great at something if you cheat your way there. So, in conclusion, use of advanced substances is not only illegal, it's bad for your overall health and morally wrong. It's basically what it comes down to. I think everyone realizes it. They just don't know how broad the illegal banned substances categories cover. And there should not be this win-at-all-cost mentality when it comes to sports in America today. And so I urge you to take more time to research about the issue and formulate your own opinion. And if there is someone that you think is using illegal drugs or has in the past, talk to them and talk to them about why it is so bad for you. So now I'll take any questions that y'all might have.
What would you say is probably the most commonly used illegal drug?
I think in the past it was always steroids, because that was the easiest way to see gains. You'd see guys put on, I've heard stories of guys putting on 40 pounds of muscle within 6 months, which is ridiculous. Now you'll see HGH, over in Europe more, because it's not banned like it is in here in America, except when it comes to international competition. And you see a lot of testosterone boosters too, to basically bring up that level. Any other questions? Did I explain everything all right?
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Oh, yes.
Good job, Coach.